My dear students, how are you doing? For today's lesson, we're going to look at how to apply stages of learning. Are you keen to learn new things, but find it hard to do so? Perhaps you lack the confidence to begin learning something new, or you're unsure how to improve your existing skills. Let me state this upfront. Tell you the truth. Most people find it difficult to learn. That's not a secret. So you shouldn't feel bad if you're one of these people. And the good news is, in the next few minutes, I'll introduce to you the stages of learning. This knowledge will help you break through your learning challenges and turn you into a super learner. Let's dive in straight in. First things first, we have the table of contents. So we're going to be looking into what are the stages of learning. There are actually three stages here stated. Cognitive learning is the first one, associative learning is the second one, and autonomous is the third one. Why should you care about learning? We'll also focus on that there too. And I'm adding three steps to applying the stages of learning, besides the bottom line. Without further ado, my dear students, let's kick in. So, what are the stages of learning? There are three stages of learning in total, and each stage can be broken down as follow. Stage number one, cognitive learning. In this first stage, known as cognitive learning, the learner they observe and listen and make connections based on knowledge that they've already gained, either consciously or subconsciously. Cognitive learning engages students in the learning process, getting them used to use their brain to make new connections from knowledge already stored in their minds. This helps them develop problem-solving skills and improves comprehension. So your English teacher that I am, this stage here super important. This will help you understand things in your classes in the previous units that we'll be having. Knowledge in this stage can be acquired through any of the following methods, my dear students. First things first, implicit learning. This takes place when the learner is unaware of the fact that they're actually learning. It's devoid of specific instructions, but instead relies on visuals and verbal cues. Usually takes place in a social setting. To give you an example of this, take a child learning to speak. Typically, they learn the building blocks of the language or languages in a social setting without being formally taught by a teacher. This organic form of learning leads to knowledge that is successfully retained over many years, regardless of any psychological changes the learner experiences. Implicit learning is effective for skill reproduction and also is independent of IQ and age. Explicit. So we have implicit and we have explicit learning. This takes place when a person actively seeks out opportunities to learn. Although, like implicit learning, this relies on visual and verbal cues. It doesn't have to involve a teacher precisely. So, this basically, my dear students, is when you put yourself in communities or when you take the first step to ask for directions in English or to be part of a group and all. The example that is given here is taking riding a bike. Someone wanting to acquire this skill might attempt to learn on their own by mimicking the actions of existing bikers or riders. These are the visual cues that we are referring to. However, they may also ask someone for guidance on getting started. That's what we would understand as the verbal cues. So, mimicking is the visual, and asking for guidance is the verbal. Explicit learning is a great way to train the brain to learn new concepts and to solve problems. Collaborative learning, which is the second one. This type of learning is the most commonly used in educational institutes like ours. It involves the collaboration between the tutor, teacher, learner, and other students. I'm sure you're familiar with this process. The tutor, teacher, imparts knowledge and helps the learners to make sense of it. This usually involves the learners being asked to discuss newly acquired information and to connect it to knowledge they've already gained. Collaborative learning improves learners' creative thinking, which is something that we definitely invoke here at the school, verbal communication, and of course, leadership skills. It also helps boost self esteem as well as exposing them, yourselves, to different points of view. Cooperative learning. In cooperative learning, students have to interact with each other and a tutor. Our famous breakout rooms is the example of that. The structure is such that learners must follow their tutors or teachers' instructions. The teacher will then observe, as I do, and assess the learners to make sure that they're learning the aim for skills and knowledge. So I kind of motivate you when I have to in our classes. This style of learning works best when practical knowledge is being shared. For example, sports fields, music rooms are excellent cooperative learning settings as they allow teachers or tutors to give hands on demonstrations as well as being able to watch their students try out their new skills. This is to apply what you've acquired, my dear students. Cooperative learning helps students increase their retention power, builds relationships, and boost their self-confidence. In addition, it offers opportunities for social support and helps improve attitude and tolerance towards authority and those who are seen as different to others. Observational learning. This style of learning involves the acquisition of knowledge through observation and imitation of others. Many people are drawn towards this style, including myself. That that's because it makes learning an enjoyable activity or process, encouraging social interaction and enhances memory. Meaningful learning. This type of learning is the opposite of rote learning. It occurs when a concept has been understood fully and is applied in practice. For instance, think of a chemistry student who learns from his or her tutor that mixing certain chemicals can result in an explosive reaction. Once the students know this, it will prevent them from mixing those chemicals in the lab. Meaningful learning requires the linking of new information to previously acquired knowledge. It is constructive and encourages learning through different techniques.